Hello, this is Sarita, and I'm here to help you understand the truth about who you are. So what my offering for all of you today is a pineal gland activation meditation in which we are working within, if you like, the vacuum of space or our expanded consciousness to invite the pineal gland to begin to secrete its celestial fluid. So if you like, it could also be called the Christos oil that comes from the pineal gland and begins to drip into your brain, into your bloodstream, into your nervous system, and also into your endocrine system. And what happens when you do this type of activation is, hopefully, you're inviting the pineal gland to now stay open, if you like, or stay activated, and to drip constantly this celestial fluid into you, which then, if you like, marries you up to your spiritual nature. So it's a direct activation which it connects you as a material being to your spiritual aspect. It connects you as a microcosm to the whole macrocosmic aspect of yourself. And as this celestial fluid, the secretions from the pineal gland drip into your body, what should happen is just the way that DMT is secreted from your pineal gland when you're in an altered state of consciousness or when you're in the dreamscape. What happens is you begin to be able to expand your perception and see beyond the confines of the visible light spectrum, this third dimensional reality. You begin to see beyond the confines and the constraints of that, which are self-inflicted, obviously, and you begin to be able to perceive more of the visible light spectrum and also begin to perceive more of the invisible or non-ordinary reality spectrum that is available to all of us. So in other words, we begin to expand our perception into the fourth and fifth dimensions. And once you've done this meditation, you can do it as many times as you like in order to begin this kind of activation of having this celestial fluid dripping into your bloodstream. It should be a constant thing. And you might feel a little, if you achieve the activation, you're going to feel slightly altered at the end of it. So that's my kind of disclaimer to you. You may feel a bit out of it if you actually achieve the activation that this meditation is intending for you. But eventually what will happen is that kind of altered state that you'll feel that yourself in. So you might feel a bit dreamy, a little bit out of it, a little bit like you're kind of high. Eventually what will happen is your perception of reality will start to normalize. So that state of being where you're in an expanded state of perception will normalize and it will become your normal state of being. So this is what happened to me when I was on my, I guess what you would call it, a shamanic initiation path. You know, I studied for however many years. I meditated every day, all of the time. I did ceremony. I did all of that kind of stuff. And at one point when I was deep into a breathwork meditation session, I suddenly activated the pineal gland opened, and this kind of celestial fluid began to drip into my bloodstream. And I felt very out of it, actually, for probably about a month. And then my reality just caught up. And what's happened since then is my ability to perceive energy and to have, to be more empathic, to be more telepathic, to have I can't remember what they're called now, you know, the abilities to see something in the future before it arrives, and to access expanded states of consciousness. All of that kind of elevated, and it became the norm for me. And so now I don't feel like I'm in an altered state of consciousness all of the time. It is just how I am. You know, it's kind of who I am. So that's what this activation will do for you. So that's my kind of disclaimer. You might feel a bit out of it if it works for you, but I would also say that in most cases you will not get the activation unless you are ready to receive it. So in other words, unless you've done a certain amount of inner work, the activation just isn't going to work for you. You may feel the meditation, you might feel yourself in an expanded state of awareness, you may see your pineal gland, you may open it, you may see the celestial fluids beginning to drip out, but you won't get the actual activation unless you're kind of spiritually ready for it, because this is the way that our bodies kind of work. And so I would say don't push it too much, but you can do the meditation and as often as you want, basically. So I hope that you enjoy it just for the sake of its own, for its own sake, basically, because it's kind of a beautiful experience doing this meditation. And if you do get the activation, fantastic, that's brilliant for you. Let me know how it goes. But yes, you will, if you do get the activation, you will feel a bit like you're a bit high or a bit dreamy. And you'll start to see new things in the field of your reality, let's say, and you may receive new abilities or more constant access to the abilities that you already have. We all have these these abilities of extra perception and extra sensory abilities and psychic abilities and telepathic abilities. We have all of those already. It's whether we're consciously working with them. So that's what this meditation is all about. And I am now going to explain to you how the meditation is going to go, and then we're going to go right ahead and do it. So what happens in this meditation is we go straight in. I just kind of received the information, and I was in quite an altered state when I did this. Normally I spend ages kind of relaxing you, getting you to focus on the breath, but that wasn't what happened here. We just went straight into, if you like, the void. So we begin with the darkness, and then from the darkness you're going to be taken to the infinite space, the voided space all around you, which is infinity. And then what's going to happen is I'm going to invite you to follow your breath. And as you follow your breath, you'll be guided to the 0 point place where the breath, within that voided space, where the breath is coming from. And then I'm going to get you to see at that 0 point of attention within the space, a pine cone. Now, your pineal gland basically looks like a pine cone. And obviously this has been depicted, you know, right from, you know, time, the beginning of time in many traditions as a pine cone. So I saw it as a pine cone as well. And it was kind of very shadowy. So it was in the dark, and it was very closed pine cone. So kind of all of the petals of the pine cone were closed. I don't know what they're actually called, but I saw them as petals. Okay, so I call them petals. So the petals of the pine cone are closed, and you're going to be invited to kind of see the pine cone from every perspective above and below, and then you'll be taken to above the pine cone. And you're going to begin to use the exhalation of your breath to breathe over the pine cone. And this is the activation. It's the breath that will activate your pineal gland, which is the pine cone. So you're breathing over the pine cone, and what that's going to do is it's going to cause the petals of the pine cone to begin to open from the stem. And once they're open and the breath is activating them, what's going to happen is these kind of secretions, the celestial fluid, will rise up from the stem and cover all of the petals and the stem. And then what's going to happen is the secretion, the celestial fluid, the nectar, whatever you want to call it, and it's been called many things in many traditions. It's an oil, it's a sacred oil. It's called the Christos oil as well. That will begin to overflow from the stem, flowing down, and it will begin to drip into the darkness, which is essentially your consciousness. And from that consciousness, it will drip into your brain, into your nervous system, and then into your endocrine system, where it will continue to act upon the matter of your body and your being. And basically your pineal gland is it's the master gland in your body. And really an activation of this kind happens when you are becoming self-mastered to a certain degree. And although, of course, we know that we should not be constrained by the limitations that have been placed upon us, in order to expand in our consciousness, we need a level of discipline and self-mastery, which is different to being constrained and boxed into our limitations. It's about mastering ourselves, mastering our minds, those unruly thoughts, mastering the matrix, mastering our emotions. And from that, it's a kind of masculine container that holds your inner creativity to be able to expand and grow so that you can become unlimited in your perceptions. So it's very important to have a level of self-mastery in order to begin to activate this level of expanded consciousness within you. So once it's dripping into your bloodstream, you're going to begin to have extrasensory perceptions, which will then allow you to become the creator with more efficacy of your reality and your universe. And those celestial fluids, the Christos fluid, will then flow down the endocrine system and into all of the glands within the endocrine system. So, you know, your pituitary gland, your thyroid gland, your thymus gland, your pancreas, you know, all of the glands, your adrenal glands, all of the glands of your body. And it will then act upon all aspects of your body, really lining you up to your spiritual self. And hopefully you'll feel this drip and this activation. So once it's kind of dripping into your consciousness, what we're going to do is we're just going to leave it there to do its own thing. And I will bring you slowly back to your body and into the room, because obviously we need to be able to be physically aware so that we don't, you know, step out into the road when there's oncoming traffic. We need to be kind of, you know, physically aware of our environment. And I've always said this from the beginning, even when I didn't quite understand why I was saying this, I knew, and I know now with deeper understanding, that the road of enlightenment is going to be for us through the physical vessel, through the body. We are here to bring the light of awareness into our physical bodies and to have a physical experience upon this planet. And our road of ascension into fifth dimensional consciousness is unique because we are taking our bodies with us. So I hope you enjoy this activation. Please do leave a comment. Please do like the video if you like it, because it helps me navigate the algorithm and get my work out there to more and more people. So please do like, share and subscribe if you have enjoyed this video, and otherwise I am sending you all of my love. Please go and visit my website, which is www.sarita-sol.com, because I've got many courses, many more meditations, lots of free stuff there, and I have places available on my retreats that I now run all year long here at Solhenge in the Actaine in France. So if you would like to come and work with me in person, please do come on retreats and go and look at my website. So without further ado, done my marketing plug, so that's great. I'm going to invite you to sit up straight, take a breath in, take a breath out, and close your eyes. Feel the darkness all around you. As a limitless space. A space without limitation. A space of expansiveness, of eternity. Endless, vast, vacuum of space. Let your mind dissolve into the space. Let every thought dissipate into nothing. Allow your focus to become like space. And in the vastness of this space, feel the breath. Hear the breath. Breathing into the space. To the center of the space. Breathing out into the space. The space all around you. Breath and space. space and breath. Feel yourself becoming the breath, becoming the space. And as you hone in your focus more and more into the space and the breath, can you begin to perceive that the breath is taking you towards a focal point? A 0 point. A point of awareness and absolute attention. And as you allow yourself to be carried towards and into this point, you see that there is an object here, an image, a concentration of energy in the shape of a pine cone. And this pine cone is shadowy, it's dark, but very, very real. And you travel your awareness around the pine cone, observing it at the central focal point from every angle, from above, from below, a pine cone that is floating in space. And the pine cone is your pineal gland. And your awareness is the multi-dimensional observation of its existence within your space. And just as the breath has led you to your pineal gland, so now we actively choose to bring the breath into the gland, to give the gland our breath, our energy, our active attention. So you're now going to travel your awareness to directly above the gland. Looking down upon it. And notice the details of the gland from this higher perspective. The petals of the pine cone enclosed, shadowed, tightly held. Its shape as spherical from this perspective. And with every out breath now, you are going to begin to breathe over the gland. A breath of warmth, a breath of awareness, a breath of attention, observation, and intention. The intention to give to your pineal gland the breath, your breath from within your body, exhaling it, honoring the gland, imbuing it surrounding it, warming it with your exhalation. Feel and see your out breath flowing over the gland. Breath from your body touching the gland. Breath from your body warming it, soothing it, softening it. And breath from your body opening it. See those tightly closed petal-like structures responding to your breath. See them opening a little. Opening a little more. Opening more and more in order to receive the gift of the exhalation from within your body. And just like a flower that blossoms in the sun, in the breeze, in the rain and the light, these petals are fully extended now. And your breath flows to each and every one, nourishing, touching, filling. And the gland receives. And as your exhalation continues to feed this gland with your attention, with your breath, you now begin to perceive a golden nectar arising, liquid, crystal clear sap appearing from within the stem of the gland, rising and glistening and beginning to flow to cover every petal, with this divine liquid, this magical oil. Every petal covered in the nectar, the entire stem of the gland covered in this nectar. Gleaming and oiled, shining with a mysterious, mystical light. The sheen of a divine nectar. And the breath continues to flow. And the sap continues to rise. Overflowing now. And beginning to drip from the gland into the darkness, into the nothingness, dripping into the space of your consciousness. dripping into the void of infinity. Dripping into the space that is within you. Dripping this golden liquid oil, celestial fluid, divine nectar. Dripping into your brain, into your nervous system, into your endocrine system, a drip of infinity, a drip of evolution, a drip of higher awareness, a drip of expandedness, a drip of presence, a drip of creation. And as your pineal gland continues to secrete, to drip these celestial fluids, into your system, into your consciousness. You are going to begin to bring your awareness very gently back to the breath. The breath flows in, the breath flows out. And as the breath flows, it is allowing you to become more aware of your physicality, your lungs, your nose, your face, your body, your body upon the chair, in the room that you are in. Let that space of infinity, whilst always there, with that drip of celestial nectar, become your secondary gaze, as your primary gaze begins to hone back in to your physical body. Let yourself gently wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Feel your legs, your back, your arms, your head. And then taking as much time as you need, coming back to the room and opening your eyes.